This is Roster Castellato interviewing Tristan Rogers at the January 2022 Burbank Hollywood Show. So now, what projects are you currently working on?
I don't live in LA anymore.
All right.
So I'm doing a lot of regional stuff in Palm Springs.
All right, nice.
And I've got a talk show which is quite different to anything I've ever done before, called Palm Springs After Dark. We also started up about a year and a half ago, about the time that COVID was just taking effect.
Yeah.
And a little group of us got bored with one another and being at home, so we started up a program called 6 Blocks Apart. And it was basically just us zooming away about once a week. Sometimes we had a guest artist, and it was all very impromptu. One could say disorganized, but it was a lot of fun, and it took hold with the public. So it fell by the wayside for a while, but we've just started to bring it back. I'm doing another soap called Studio City with Sean Kanan and Carolyn Hennessy when she's here.
Oh, yeah.
It's a totally different role from General Hospital, and I'm enjoying it enormously. I think before Christmas comes this year, I'll have another production off the ground. Something to do with motor racing, which is a passion of mine. I got a show off the ground back in the 90s called Fast Track, and it went for 22 episodes. The longest running show ever done on motor racing. But of course it fell by the wayside too, like a lot of things. Other than that, I'm just trying to stay one step ahead of COVID.
All right.
Like a lot of other people.
All right. Very nice. And can you please talk about what it was like to work on The Rescuers Down Under?
A unique experience. I got a call from my then manager who said, you've got an audition at such and such a place for The Rescuers. And I thought, okay.
Right.
So off I go. I walked into this building and there must have been, 40 or 50 people in the room. So I sit down and I've already read the script. I did the audition. It was all right. And they said, well, let's do it again. So I did it again. Get the end of it. And I said, okay, time out. This guy wouldn't be saying this under these circumstances. The dialogue's all wrong. There was a hush in the room. You just didn't do stuff like that. Not in the Disney edition. So the guy there sort of looks at me and says, okay, what do you think he should say? So I changed all the dialogue. I said, okay, thank you. So I got up and left and thought to myself, yeah, well, I guess we can write that one off. A year later, I get a call from my manager. You got the job. What job? You got the job on Walt Disney's The Rescuers Down Under. Okay. She said there'll be a script in the mail. That's back when we did stuff like putting scripts in mail. So I get it, and they said you're booked in 4 days. And the actual reading was on the Disney lot, the one and only time we ever actually worked on that lot.
Oh, nice.
And it was one of the original Walt Disney Studios. All the other ones had been pulled down and rebuilt. So the guy said, this is a real piece of history that you're working with here. So this is the way the studio was built back in the 40s. So I thought, oh, okay. So we do it. Thank you. Off I go. 5 days later, I get a call. You're booked at such and such to do another copy. Okay. Well, this went on for a year. Until finally I said, hey look, is there a problem here? You seem to be redoing stuff a whole lot. And they said, well, here's the problem. The way you work is that I would divide the script up and then I'd take each sentence and I'd say, okay, let's go for 3. And they go, okay. So I do 3, then I say, okay, which one of the 3 is closest to what you want? And they say, well, the second one. Okay, let's go for 2 like that, but with some variations. He said, you've been doing this now for about the last 5 months. And it's created a lot of problems. Because with Bob and Ava, they have 1 take. That's all they've got. Said, you've given us dozens and dozens and dozens of takes. And so there's a lot of argument going on as to which one we should use. So we just keep on redoing it.
Oh, nice.
I said, you want me to change that? I said, no. Keep doing what you're doing. It's perfect for us. But understand something, it's taken a lot longer than we thought. I said, okay. So finally we got it all done, and I didn't hear from them again for quite a while. And then there was the big premiere. The premiere was at a theatre in Beverly. So I go in there and take a seat. It starts up. I fall asleep.
Ah, there you go.
And that pretty much sums up my experience.
Very nice. And which role of yours was the hardest one to prepare for?
You mean as a voice or as an actor?
In any capacity, in general.
I think a lot of the stuff that I'm doing now, it's much more character driven. It requires a lot more thought. A lot of the initial stuff you get, especially for television, you know, it's fairly one-dimensional. But the stuff I'm getting now is multi-dimensional. The characters are going through a lot of changes, a lot of turmoil, a lot of trauma. You've got to think about it a lot more.
All right.
Which I like. I think at this age that I'm at now, I get offered much more interesting stuff.
All right.
And then the networks may have a kind of a joke about older people, but the bottom line is we get the best stuff.
All right. All right. Very nice. Well, thank you for allowing me to interview you.
Thank you for your time.
My pleasure. Well, there you have it. That was Ross Castellato interviewing Tristan Rogers at the January 2022 Burbank Hollywood Show.